Assalamu alaikum viewers, nlpmantra.com, माइंड इंजीनियर, इल्मकिदुनिया और campus.pk की तरफ से आप सबको रमज़ान बैठक की फॉर्मल पहली एपिसोड में मैं वेलकम और खुश आमदीद कहता हूँ। आज हमारा टॉपिक बहुत ही मज़ेदार है। कल की जो हमारी बातचीत हुई थी उससे हमने एक तमीद बांधी थी कि इंशाल्लाह हम किस मौज़ूआत पर बात करेंगे और आप लोगों ने उसको बहुत सराहा, जिसके लिए मैं अल्लाह सुब्हानहू तआला के बाद आप सबका बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ। आज हमारे साथ ऑल द वे फ्रॉम शारजा यूएई शेख ताहिर खालिद ज्वाइन करेंगे अभी चंद सेकंड्स के अंदर अंदर। और आज का हमारा जो टॉपिक है वो है कि व्हाट मेड अस टू बी कंफ्यूज्ड। हम इतने कंफ्यूज्ड क्यों हैं, हम इतने घबराए हुए क्यों हैं, हमें क्यों समझ नहीं आ रही कि क्या सही है और क्या गलत है, हमें क्यों समझ नहीं आ रही कि हम कहाँ पर जा रहे हैं, हमें क्यों पता नहीं चल रहा। तो आइए देखते हैं, बल्कि शेख साहब के साथ हम एक और भी सीरीज करेंगे जिसमें हम इसका वजह उसको फिर एनालाइज करेंगे, उसकी रीजंस को भी ढूंढेंगे। सो लेट मी वेलकम ऑनलाइन विद मी शेख ताहिर खालिद। शेख अस्सलाम वालेकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातहू।
वालेकुम सलाम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातहू। كيف حالك؟
Alhamdulillah, Sheikh, كيف حالك? See,
بارك الله فيك. الحمد لله.
I'm wearing the same Arabic.
How are you? How's everybody there?
Alhamdulillah, Sheikh, everybody is fine, doing great, and inshallah we are going to have a great audience which is going to interact with you, because this is a topic which is very close to my heart, to your heart, and our youth needs to know. And by the way, Sheikh, time to time I will be doing some translation for that audience who is not able to understand English that well, if you are okay with that.
I'm fine.
So yeah, so I'll just announce that. Viewers, मैं शेख ताहिर जो है उनके साथ इंग्लिश में बात होगी, और जहां आप लोगों को कुछ चीज़ सवाल चाहिए हो या कोई ऐसी बात ज़हन में हो, आप मुझसे पूछिएगा, मैं खुद भी उसको ट्रांसलेट करता जाऊंगा और इंशाल्लाह हम इसको बहुत ही इंटरेक्टिव बनाएंगे। आप लोगों का बहुत सारी पार्टिसिपेशन ऑलरेडी शुरू हो चुकी है, जिसके लिए मैं बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ। सो आइए बात का आगाज़ करते हैं। शेख, फॉर माई व्यूअर्स, as usual, I would request you to give a couple of lines, because this time we have a new viewership. We have even bigger viewership than before, mashallah, and majority of them is youth. So if you can give a few lines about who is Tahir Khalid.
Okay. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu salam, rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ashabi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, my dear brothers and sisters, it's by Allah's mercy and grace that I have the opportunity, first of all, to be in front of you today. That is really, for me, it's a mercy from Allah, and we thank Allah much, for the opportunity to speak to you, and of course, for the beginning of another Ramadan, and we pray, we hope that we make it.
Sheikh, can I request you to please put the mic a little bit up so that your voice sometimes goes away?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this better?
This is better, Sheikh. Jazakallah. Yes, please continue.
Can you hear me now? It's better?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay, so first of all, actually, I spent part of my first Ramadan in Karachi, in 1981, in the Gold Souk area, what you call the lettered areas, right? LMNPQ, right? This area, right? An example, Nazimabad, huh?
Nazimabad, not Nazimabad, not Nazimabad, okay. And majority of people would not even be born who are listening to you probably here. So you became, mashallah.
Oh, that's great. Listen to me, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so mashallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you with Islam much at a time which was probably the best for you. Please.
Well, yeah, a lot of people, my old friends, said that was the golden age of Pakistan. I said, well, mashallah, if that's the case, but actually, my experience, and I've been all over Pakistan. It's been quite some time since I've been there, but I've been all over Pakistan. I've probably been more places than most average Pakistanis have been. But at any rate, it was a great experience for me. And some of the things that distinguished it, because I was there in Ramadan, and the way the people were worshiping, especially the last 10 nights was like you're on another planet. People were praying. At that time of year, the weather was beautiful. So people were praying in the courtyard. People praying. There's like 3 different qadis. They're praying in the court. That was one big masjid. I never forget. I don't remember the name of it. I can never forget the situation. People praying in the courtyard. People praying on the roof. People praying inside the masjid. And people, what we're praying now, our salat is short, and alhamdulillah, at least we prayed this year, right, Tarawih. Okay, but it's like a half an hour for Isha and Tarawih. And people, the last 10 days, people were praying the whole Quran. They were praying like 3 hours. Okay, and Tarawih, or Qiyam al-Layl, it was fantastic. And after that, I remember I said, I didn't feel like I was praying when we were making the other kind of salah. So for me, if we just say that experience is extraordinary, and it's something that I will never forget, even though it was a very long time ago. And I was young then, my beard was all black.
You are still young, Sheikh. I cannot win squash from you even today, I believe. So this is what.
in spirit, maybe in heart, maybe, but the reality is another story. And at that time, I traveled throughout the Indian subcontinent. But and since that time, of course, I've been to many countries, and I've been living in the Middle East for the last 30 years. But I've been involved in youth development all my life. Okay, what do I mean all my life? Because I started in youth programs when I was a youth. Okay, I was in youth development programs from the time I was small, all the way, until I became an adult, and then I became like a counselor and moved on to other aspects of development in a lot of different areas. And it was very interesting for me because when I came into the Middle East, I didn't think that for some reason, I thought I'd be doing things different, than I had been doing. And then I found myself here doing the very same things I was doing in America. And other things which I didn't expect, okay, or of course from Muslims, and some of the things that were going on that we never expected in Muslim society. But I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because the experiences that I had as a non-Muslim helped me and continues to help me with Muslims. And many of the experiences that I had as a youth, I'm still counseling young people in 2021. Okay, with it's a very interesting dynamic. If you ask a young person and says, well, is the guy doing like 1, 2, 3? And they say, yeah, he's doing exactly. How you know that? I said, well, it's kind of old. Shaitan has a lot of old tricks. He doesn't need new ones because the old ones work so well. Okay, an example. So it doesn't need anything new. So that goes back to a very long time. And I said, yes, my mama told me about that. So guess how old that is? My mom is 92. Okay. So this is the reality of in terms of time. Of course, there are things that do change, and of course, we have to keep up with change. And can't.
I'll request you again to put your mic a little bit up.
This thing is sliding, huh?
Yeah, it keeps on sliding. Yeah.
All right. So, this is a set of circumstances that we find ourselves in today. And in relationship to our topic, this is an issue with many of our young people, and they are confused. And it's very interesting because it's straight across the board. People think it's just the Muslims. No, it's the non-Muslims as well. Okay, I've sat and I continue to sit with a lot of non-Muslims. And if you think Muslims are confused, wait till you sit and talk to non-Muslims.
Sheikh, correct me if I'm wrong. Sheikh, correct me if I'm wrong. Apologies for interrupting you here. Yeah. Do you think if we can say that humanity is confused as of today?
Yes. Part of the blame lies with us.
Yes.
Okay. Part of the blame lies with us. Why? Because Islam is the clear beacon of light, a distinction between truth and falsehood.
Indeed.
So if the Muslim is standing for truth in the face of the worst adversity, okay, it becomes clear in the heart for many people who are even their adversaries. And the proof of this, the Prophet ﷺ, his worst enemies, the Prophet ﷺ never stopped inviting them to Islam. Everybody here talks about Khalid bin Walid, the sword of Allah. Khalid bin Walid was inviting people on the battlefield, man. Have we ever heard of a general, okay, of an army of 25,000 men talking to another general in the middle of the battlefield? We've never heard anything like this before. People say that's absurd. We come to fight. Okay, you're crazy. Okay, we're going to drop missiles and bombs on you. But we find Khalid when they did this, and we find that the general in the opposing army accepts Islam and turns around with the Muslims and
Yes.
fights against his own people charge. He dies as a shaheed. So he never made two rakat, never made wudu, never did anything.
Indeed.
So this distinguishes us clearly from other people. And these things which people are trying to brand us with, the reason why they can get away with those things is because we ourselves have not made ourselves outstanding. We don't promote ourselves as outstanding. We don't even promote our people who do outstanding things. Sure, we can say, okay, from an Islamic perspective, we're looking at our reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not here to broadcast or to be proud and so forth. But I think right now our young people need to see all the people that are doing positive things
Sheikh,
as
that's
much as
very
possible.
interesting. That's very interesting point that you have raised. And let me just do a little bit of. I always love to let my viewers know how I met Sheikh Tahir Khalid first. My first meeting with Sheikh Tahir Khalid was something which I always admire, and that is one of the things that we as Muslims today do not do. So I'll do that bit in Urdu, Sheikh, and do a little bit of translation of what you have said just now.
Fine.
सो व्यूअर्स शेख साहब के साथ मेरी जो पहली मुलाकात थी वो मस्जिद में हुई और मस्जिद में ये मिंबर पे खड़े हुए लोगों को बता रहे थे जिस तरह शेख साहब बता रहे थे कि तकरीबन माशाल्लाह 81 में इन्होंने इस्लाम कबूल किया 40 साल पहले आज से तो उस वक्त ये लोगों को ये बता रहे थे कि जी तुम इधर बैठो तुम उधर से उठो तुम यहाँ से उठो जिस तरह हमारे आम मस्जिदों में होता है मैं वहाँ पीछे आके बैठा तो इन्होंने मुझे भी कहा कि आगे आओ मैं मतलब मैं अगली साइड बैठा तो मेरे साथ जो लोग बैठे थे उनको भी इन्होंने बिठाया तो मुझे वो थोड़ा सा अजीब लगा मैंने शेख को जाकर उसके नमाज के बाद कहा मैंने कहा शेख आपका ये तरीका मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगा एंड लो एंड बी होल्ड शेख ने फौरन मुझसे ना सिर्फ मुझसे बल्कि मेंबर पे सबसे माफ़ी मांगी और कहा कि अगर मेरी किसी की दिल आज़ारी हुई है तो मैं उसके लिए आपका तहे दिल से आपसे माफ़ी मांगता हूँ और फिर उन्होंने अपने खुतबे का आगाज़ किया ये वो पॉइंट है जो मैं यहाँ पर आपको बताना चाहता हूँ ये वो पॉइंट है जिस पॉइंट को समझना हमारे लिए बड़ा ज़रूरी है जो डिफ्रेंशिएट करता है हम मुसलमानों को दूसरे लोगों से शेख ने खालिद बिन वलीद की मिसाल दी खालिद बिन वलीद ने रूमी जो फौजें थी उन फौजों में जो उनसे वो लड़ रहे थे उन्हीं को मुसलमान किया और उनको अपने साथ मिला के लड़ाई शुरू कर दी ये बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट है समझना कि हमारी ये कन्फ्यूजन और ये कन्फ्यूजन सिर्फ हम लोगों की नहीं है हमारा यूथ कंफ्यूज नहीं है इस वक्त आलम इस्लाम नहीं आलम इंसानियत कंफ्यूज है सो आइए शेख से आगे बात करते हैं Yeah, Sheikh, I've just done a bit of a translation, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to everybody who has joined us and who is saying assalamu alaikum. So, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Because we can't, mashallah, there's so many people with us, Sheikh, right now that I can't say salam for individually to everybody. So it's a carpet salam. Please accept it. Yeah. Yes, Sheikh. You are. I wanted to. My next question, Sheikh, is that where do you think this confusion actually? Where was the first time? Sheikh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead. Say it again.
Yeah. Where was the first time when this this confusion actually, came into existence? If you must say that.
Into existence? The beginning of
Yes.
time of confusion?
I mean, I'm talking
Well,
about
I think this.
recent maybe. If it is recent, people think it is recent, so that's why I'm saying if it is recent, then when and where did it start? Or let me put
Well,
it this way: when was
okay.
the time when we Muslims started losing our roots and we entered into the norms of? Do you think it was the time of Sahaba? It was the time of Tabein, Taba Tabein? I mean, when was it?
Well, let's look at it like this. We said that let's look at the condition. If the best time there ever has been was during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and then after that, the time of his companions, right? 3 out of 4 of his companions were assassinated.
Yes.
Most people don't realize that. Okay.
Indeed.
So what does that tell you? What does that tell you about the condition of people facing the challenge of the truth? It means
Indeed.
very simple that
शेख साहब ने
the
कहा कि
truth.
3 जो थे खुलफा राशिदीन उनका कत्ल किया गया यस शेख प्लीज
Okay, so what does that tell you? That tells you something very clearly that the challenges are very old, and that the challenges will continue. And what does Allah say in the Quran? Well, do not think that you will call yourself Muslim, that you will be not tested. You'll be tested in things in which you love, your health, your wealth, your family. So that means from the beginning, right, till Yom Qiyamah, these things are going to be there. All right. So, and what does Allah tell you? Allah says more or less that the help of Allah comes what? Through patience and salah. All right. So those things are going to happen. And Allah says in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 155, right? And certainly we shall test you with something of fear, hunger, loss of wealth, lives and fruits, but give tidings to the sabirin. Okay? All right. So what does that tell you? That from the beginning of time, the test has been there, and the test will be until the end of time. The question is, do you understand the methodology of dealing with it? It's not going to go away. What is your understanding of the difficulty? If you are judging the challenges that we're facing based to standards that are coming from another society or another way of life, then you will not be able to solve it, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you solution. Okay, there's one of the sheikhs I heard now, he said, listen, people want to know about the Quran. What was the Quran to the companions of Prophet ﷺ? He said the Quran to the Prophet ﷺ's companions was like the mobile phone is to you guys.
Absolutely, Sheikh. Very well said. Even
Okay.
much more than that. Even much more
Of
than
course. Okay, so why? Because Allah says the Quran is a healing and a mercy.
that. Indeed.
So what does it mean? What does it mean? You know, we don't see the Quran as a physical cure. Okay?
Indeed.
We see it as something spiritual. But the Quran is a physical cure also. Okay, there are people that are cured from illnesses historically and to the day by someone reciting Al-Fatiha.
Indeed.
Okay, but what does that mean? It means, what is the level of your yaqeen? Okay, what is your relationship with Allah? We have to ask ourselves, and it's a very simple question. And you know, this is not hypothetical, it's not theoretical. You know, people today want a lot of theory, man. Okay, and it's about hard work. What are you willing to do to get the help of Allah? The people who are crying about their condition, what are you doing, okay, to please Allah every day? Ask yourself that question. And if you understand Islam, if you are having difficulty, do you not realize that difficulty is something to make you stronger, something to make you committed more to Allah, something to make you turn more to Allah, something to have stronger faith? Like, for example, a weightlifter, okay, he has a system for building his muscles, unless he's going to use steroids. Okay, now today we want everything like a pill, right? Quick, fast, in a hurry. Take a pill and then push the button, and everything changes. It doesn't work like that. So similarly, in relationship to our deen, when people say, you know, and unfortunately, I think it is a little bit too rhetorical. We say Quran and Sunnah, Quran and Sunnah, Quran and Sunnah. Okay, and a young person says, okay, break it down for me. Okay, I'm here on this earth, all right? I want to live here. I want some things in this world. You know, there are things that I want to achieve. I want a certain career path. There are things. Is there something wrong with that? Who said that?
Absolutely, Sheikh. Sheikh, let me do a little bit of translation, because that's what people are asking for right now. Some people are not able to understand. Rida, especially this is for you. And Rida, what Sheikh is mentioning here, वो ये कह रहे हैं कि हमने रिदा आपके मैं बताना चाह रहा हूँ खास तौर पर बेटा कि शेख ये कह रहे हैं कि हम लोग जिन चीज़ों के ऊपर बच्चे आजकल कंफ्यूज हैं ज़्यादा, वो ये समझते हैं कि जी हर कोई कह रहा है कुरान सुनना, कुरान सुनना, कुरान सुनना। अब कुरान सुनना तो है, लेकिन अगर आप आज की दुनिया में रहना चाहते हो तो उसका क्या तरीका है? आप कैसे आज की दुनिया में अपनी ज़िंदगी भी गुजारो और कुरान और सुन्ना को भी फॉलो करो? तो ये इस मौजू के ऊपर हमारी माशाल्लाह बात हो रही है शेख के साथ। और शेख ताहिर खालिद जो है ये माशाल्लाह बहुत ही एक ऐसी हम्बल पर्सनैलिटी है कि जिनके साथ आपको बहुत मज़ा आएगा। ये शेख, सॉरी, I stopped you, but I just told this, and I think Sheikh, you have brought up a very important, very interesting point. I remember one saying from Ali Razillah Talana. Somebody asked him, what is taqwa? So he said, it is like walking from what do you call this, walking between the thorns, but saving your clothes or your body. So I think this what you're mentioning right now is exactly the same thing that we are talking about Quran, Sunnah, Quran, Sunnah, Quran, Sunnah. Like for example, Sheikh, when I work with pornography addiction therapist cases, I people come and tell me, oh, you know what? Ex Sheikh told me this. Why Sheikh said you cannot be saved? You have done such a big sin. You will go to hell. And you know and you know what I tell them. My first talk to them, my first comment to them is, behold, you are the most beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember this thing right now. And the guy said, oh, really, sir? But we have done such big sins. I say, and my point is, this is the reason why you are more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because
Yeah.
He has given you the chance to change. Sir, but then I'd get a relapse. I said, then you have another glad tidings from me, another good news from me. Yeah, you are even more beloved. I said, sir, then how come? I said, because He still wants you to be saved for something that you might have
Sure.
done wrong. So when you do a relapse, He gives you another chance to repent. What else do you want? So Sheikh, you brought a
Sure.
great point.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win. It says what
Exactly,
if there were no people committing sins, Allah would bring another people.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
So what does that tell you? It says Allah is Ghafur Rahim. What does that mean? Why do we say it if we don't believe it? It says, Allah is Rahman Rahim. What are we talking about here? If you don't believe it, why are you saying it? You're just saying it. That's it. There's something off your tongue. Doesn't mean anything to you. It has no reality for you. Then we need to go back. Every one of us, we need to go back and look and say, what does it really mean to me? And I don't need to go any further. I need to stay right there. I need to ground myself in Al Fatiha.
Yes,
You see, I need to ground myself in Al Fatiha.
indeed.
Okay, and work. And because this is what the companions did, And stuff with Allah Adim, I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but they learned, Iman, and then they learned Quran. So the Quran wasn't just something off their lips. Okay,
Indeed.
and when it came time for them to meet the challenges that they faced, okay, then the help of Allah came. Okay, the help of Allah was there because of what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had purified their hearts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had tested them to the extreme test, to the maximum that a human being can do, his life.
Indeed.
Okay, and some of the ulama say that if there was 313 men in the world today, like the 313 that stood at Badr, they would change the whole world.
Absolutely. Those
See, so
313 did change the whole world.
we just look at that and says, who's ready? Okay, that's the challenge we need to ask ourselves. Who's ready? Who's ready for this challenge?
She's
And are
going.
we raising our young people to look at that as the standard in everything, whatever, whether it's in academics, whether it's in athletics, okay, an example, whether it's in science or mathematics, okay, are we raising our young people, or are young people looking at that standard, or they're looking at something else?
Sheikh, my
That's what
question to you is,
the young person has to ask himself that, not from his parents. Ask yourself that. Now, if you
uh,
don't understand that, and no one has ever presented it to you, I'm presenting it to yourself now, to you now.
but Sheikh,
Where,
my
where,
question to
where do
you
you see
is,
yourself?
Sheikh, my question to you is, uh, yes, you are right. Youth needs to, to evaluate inside their own hearts, inside their own souls. But do you think that we, as a generation who is a bit elder and a generation above, elder to us, do you think that we did have some tasks to or some role to play which we didn't do properly, and that things our youth can do in a different way?
I don't want to point. I don't want to point the finger at anybody. I don't have the right to do that. Every
Uh,
parent. I believe that every parent wants the best for his children, and every
Indeed,
parent is trying to do his best from his understanding that his child has more than what he had. Whether it's in deen or dunya, I like to think positively like that.
indeed,
But the thing is, I think there is one mistake that we made, that parenting doesn't stop with our own children.
absolutely, Sheikh.
Okay, in
Very well
certain
said.
societies, they historically say it takes a village, okay, to raise a child. Okay, the Native Americans, some of the Native American tribes, the real Americans, okay, in their tribes, a male baby, okay, was taken around to the breastfeeding women as a babe. So as he grew into being a man, they were all his mothers. So when it came for him to take on his role, when he went through his manhood training, this took him to another level.
Of course.
Okay, in relationship to the people, to the women in his tribe, and his accountability and responsibility.
Of course, there are so many mothers. Yeah.
Of course, you see, but this was the concept that they worked with. But also, you know that during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they had something not in this way. They had what they used to do. The Prophet ﷺ, they felt experienced it, right?
Yes.
Say Ayman. He said, "This is Ummi." He called her Ummi. She was the only person with him from the time he was born to the time he died. He used to call them Ummi. Okay, an example. So they used to take newborn children out to the village, and the women in the village, okay, would nurse them. So they became like their mothers, and their children became their brothers and sisters. So this was common among the Bedouin Arabs in that era. Right. The point I'm making is we've lost that concept on a minor level and on a bigger level, because the bigger scale, we have big countries, all right, with masses of people. But even on let's say if we were to take a city, all right, we've lost this kind of thinking. All right, you may find some neighborhoods, okay, some families or like clans and so forth. We can still have tribes and things in different places, but in concept, that and also I found that we have an influence in our societies today which are completely in conflict with traditional societies, and that is respect. So what happens, I find, among a lot of young people are disrespectful because this hasn't been reinforced like it had been historically in the societies that they live in.
Sheikh, let me explain this part, because there are a question going on that they want to understand. Let me give them an Urdu translation of what you just said.
Sure.
And to be on the right side of what you said, the point we are making is that we as a society has have not grown in which we have respect for each other and which we are close knit. So we understand that a parent is not only a parent of his children, but it's a parent of the whole society as well. This is the point I want to put it across.
Yes, yeah, very important.
Okay. रिदा बेटा एंड एवरीबॉडी एल्स जो सुन रहे हैं, बेटा शेख ने यहाँ पर जो इस वक्त बात की, उन्होंने एक अमेरिका की जो नेटिव अमेरिकन हैं उनकी एक एग्जांपल देके बात की कि वहाँ पर जब कोई बच्चा पैदा होता था तो उस बच्चे को तमाम औरतों का दूध पिलाया जाता था जिनके पास दूध होता था, इसलिए कि जब वो बच्चा बड़ा होगा, एक जवान बनेगा, तो वो सबकी इज्जत करेगा, सब उससे प्यार करेंगे और वो सब एक सोसाइटी में एक दूसरे के साथ एक जुड़ के रहेंगे। हमारी जो मुस्लिम सोसाइटीज थी, हमारे जो इस्लाम का एक कल्चर था कि हम एक दूसरे के साथ जुड़ के रहते थे, आज हम उस कल्चर को छोड़ चुके हैं और उस कल्चर को छोड़ने की वजह से हो ये रहा है कि हम एक दूसरे की इज्जत नहीं करते, हम एक दूसरे के बारे में, एक घर से साथ वाले घर को नहीं पता कि मेरे साथ कौन रहता है। जी बेटा, इसीलिए मैं रिदा आप लोगों के लिए ही इसको ट्रांसलेट भी साथ साथ कर रहा हूँ। शेख जो भी बात कर रहे हैं वो जाहिर है ये अमेरिकन इंग्लिश है तो उनको एक्सेंट भी थोड़ा अमेरिकन है, लेकिन ये जिनको नहीं समझ आ रहा उनके लिए मैं ट्रांसलेशन कर रहा हूँ। आप अगर गौर से सुनेंगी तो आपको एक बहुत ही आसानी से समझ भी आएगा। Thank you. So yeah, Sheikh, moving forward from here, we talked about respect, we talked about the well knit of the real fabric of the society which has been destroyed till now. Sheikh, what do you think these are the only two reasons which made us which are confusing us more and more? Isn't it the main reason is that we are unable to understand where the religion comes and where the world comes, what is permissible and what is not permissible? Either we don't know or we don't want to know, or the people who are responsible, so-called responsible for letting us know, they are not doing their job. I know you don't like it, but I
this is a dangerous
can.
area. I have one of my very good friends there in Pakistan. And I always tease him. I won't tell you who he is. I won't tell you where he is. And I said, you just become a big fat Maulana. And I can tease him like this, okay? I said, you're sitting there, teaching and you're sitting like this. But most of the people out in the street,
Yeah.
see, the people who sitting in the masjid, the people sitting in the madrasas are minority. Most of the people in the street, we have to go to the street. If the people won't come in, we got to go out to them. It doesn't mean we have to be like people in the street. That's not what I'm insinuating. But I'm saying we have to carry it to the people. And we have proof of this, okay, and evidence of it, and results from it, okay, in people's lives. So, and of course, my friend, he always just says, but I'm an educator. I said, you're an educator. I agree with you. And I respect that. I respect that, but I can say that to you. No, I'm not going to, I won't let anybody else say it to you, but I'll say that to you because I can joke with you. Then he tells me, but I can still beat you. I can still run. I said, you can't beat me 50 meters. So I can do that. But so the essence of it is, brother, we have to accept the fact that being different and doesn't necessarily mean conflicting. If we have different opinions, different ideas, we should be able to look at that and see how that will make us strong instead of making us weaker. The companions of the Prophet didn't agree on everything. That's a mistake that people make. They make it like they just loved everything. That's not true. That everything said, oh, you said okay, fine. That's not like true. They disagreed. Okay, but when they came to the conclusion that they were going to move forward, they worked forward. They worked like one jihad forward. It's okay, I disagree, but okay, this is the conclusion. Okay, this is how we're going. Okay, let's go. You see? So, but no, people say, I don't want to be with you guys. Or we start pointing the finger at each other. We put each other down. I don't like the way you look at that. See, you got that color on, and you got this thing on, and we let Shaitan just destroy us. Don't go with those people. Don't go to that masjid. Okay, that man is this, as an example. So it causes division, and Shaitan just loves it. Loves it. Okay, and as a result, we're spoiled, we're disunified. It becomes easy for Shaitan to make, like you're saying, a group of young people now who are calling themselves atheist Muslims.
Yes, this was my next question actually, and this is a very very fast growing issue, Sheikh. So I am happy that you pointed it out yourself.
That's a joke to me, man.
I agree, but it is happening.
When you talk about you atheist Muslim,
It
you're a
is
liar.
happening, Sheikh. It is
I
happening.
know, but I dealt with the kids. You're a liar, man. Come on. Okay, first of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran, okay, and it's distinct. And if you know anything about the Quran, you know anything about Arabic language, there's nothing like it. So when you talk about atheist Muslim, you're saying that because you want to involve yourself in things which are against the Quran. You're talking to somebody who lived there 30-something years as a non-Muslim, man. Who do you think you're talking to? This is rubbish, okay? This is rubbish, you're telling me. You want to do some things which you know you should not be doing. You're using this as an excuse to do that. So you think you're playing with Allah? Are you serious? Suppose Allah smacks you down, okay, while you were involved and engaged in those actions. What will you think will happen? You think you're just saying your little smart thing off your mouth is going to protect you? That's going to save you? Oh, don't make that mistake. This is a huge error, And when we try to tell people that, it says, listen, we are people who came out of darkness, and so you're telling me you want to go back to the darkness? Are you kidding?
Don't you think, Sheikh? It's more of it's more of the experimental nature of the youth today, that they want to try something because I believe people who have good religious roots, I think they have gone a bit far, even at their own homes, to hammer the religion on the youth, and that's where they have retaliated to these things. Do you think it's true?
Well, listen, I'll tell you something else, all right? We can say, well, we should take it easy with the kids and we shouldn't push them too much with Islam, Okay, fine. What's the result of that?
Our actions should speak. Our actions should speak louder than words. We don't do the same actions.
But I'm just saying, if you just listen, I don't believe that either. Okay, well, I'll tell you why. Okay, because if your parents don't put you in check, you will do the things you want to do at the earliest age.
Absolutely agreed.
Okay?
Agreed.
They're putting you in check until you get to the chance where you're outside of their vision, okay, and you're doing what you want to do all the time, but you couldn't do it in front of them. People tell me this other stuff, well, he's like that because his parents are so hard on him. I said, get out of here, give me a break, man. I can remember, of course, we're different than you guys, all right? You guys go to, well, now it might be different. When you go into college, or you went to all boys school, yeah, we had all boys schools, all girls schools too. But I'll give you an example. When we first went to college, in your freshman year of college, okay, there was guys and girls. We used to say buck wild. They went crazy. Okay, you had girls that got pregnant by this
I
first
know.
break in the first semester. Okay, you had guys that were already addicted to drugs or alcohol. Okay, by Christmas, by December, we started in 3 months time. By from September to December, these guys were getting high all the time. So people says, well, oh, they're like that now because their parents are so strict with them when they're home. I said, no, their parents were holding them back. They were holding them back. Now the parents say, okay, you're old enough. We're going to let you go away from home, get your education. I'm going to trust you. And so they're going crazy because their parents kept them from doing that. They would have done it at home. They would have done it. So when people tell me that, I don't buy that. Yes, we've been told there's a middle course. Okay, but let me ask you a question. And I ask all these young people out here, where's the middle course when you got this tool, which is
Absolutely.
filled with good things, but equally or more so filled with all kind of filth, where you could be reading Quran in Ramadan, beautifully listening to one of the most beautiful reciters, and your heart is tuned in. And for the young men, a naked girl comes say, "Hey, how you doing, baby? You want to party? Where are you? Huh? What about
Absolutely.
that?"
Sheikh, let
Huh?
me ask this question. Let me ask this question with from them in Urdu. व्यूअर्स, शेख ने यहाँ पर बड़ी ज़बरदस्त एक बात की है कि अक्सर लोग ये कहते हैं जी मेरे माँ बाप ने सख्ती की, मैंने उसके लिए ये किया, ये मेरे माँ बाप ये नहीं समझते, मेरे माँ बाप। अच्छा, उन शेख ने ये पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू है कि माँ बाप जो हैं वो आपको अगर छोड़ दें शुत्र बेमहार की तरह, तो आप तो वो तमाम काम कर जाएंगे जो आप नहीं करना चाहते, जिस तरह के वेस्ट में हो रहा है, जिस सोसाइटी से शेख ने, अल्लाह ने इनको इस्लाम की तरफ राग़िब किया। तो उन्होंने एक सवाल ये पूछा है, और ये आप लोगों से सवाल है व्यूअर्स, कि ये जो मोबाइल आपके हाथ में है, रिदा मुझे इस पे आपका जवाब भी चाहिए बेटा, ठीक है? मैं आपको इसीलिए उर्दू में ट्रांसलेट कर रहा हूँ, ठीक है रिदा, आपको परेशान ना हो। सवाल रिदा ये है कि आपके हाथ में ये जो मोबाइल है, शेख ने सवाल पूछा है कि ये जो मोबाइल आपके हाथ में है, इसके अंदर आप बेशक कुरान सुन रहे हो, अचानक एक ऐड आ जाता है लड़की का या किसी गलत चीज का, तो आप क्या करेंगे? Sheikh, I've asked the question that if they see that ad, what would be their response? So let's see till we get some responses. We'll continue. तो आपके जवाब का इंतजार है मुझे, शेख जवाब का इंतजार कर रहे हैं। Yes, Sheikh, please. Sheikh, going then, what is your finding, Sheikh? What did you really find? What are the reasons of this confusion? I'm not saying who to blame. What I'm saying is who to watch out for or what to watch out for.
Okay, we can't. We have to accept the fact. First of all, we have to let's say people who are in positions of responsibility, and of course it starts with parents. Okay, and of course it then comes to the ulama, and of course the people who are running, the, the businesses and the people who are running the countries. We have to be in touch with what's happening globally today and the impact of those things on our children and the society in which we live as a whole. We have to be in touch with this. It is a different era. It is a totally different time. And also, this pandemic has spun it into something distinctly different than it was 2 years ago. and something which we have never seen before. So we're still, okay, looking, okay, to see where is this thing going, okay, and we're still making adjustments accordingly. So what does it mean? It means that we need to be unified. First of all,
यूनिफाइड, एब्सोल्युटली। फर्स्ट
first of
पॉइंट
all,
शेख ने बोला कि हमें सबको इकट्ठे होना है, पहली चीज। यस शेख, प्लीज। यूनिटी।
okay, we need to study, okay, what is going on here. Okay. There are many people who are exploiting this in a lot of different ways, and I'm not going to go into that. So we need to look at that, for example, and how is that impacting us? We need to look at the long-term impact of what's happening, let's say, in our economy. For example, how is it going to impact my children's future? What are the things? See, people try to make Islam, and even and I'm sure you've heard that too, because you were doing business. You're a businessman. You said, "Well, brother, don't tell about Islam. This is business." What are you talking about?
Yes.
What you talking about, man?
And Sheikh, I'll tell you one thing. Sorry to interrupt you here. Alhamdulillah, summa alhamdulillah. I'm not gonna say that I have done most of the things according to 100% I was on the right thing, but when I started my business, and probably this is one of the reasons why I eventually closed it as well. Okay, that I said my actions should prove to people. And check, I think you have witnessed 3 or 4 of my staff who reverted to Islam. I had put them
I remember.
through to you as
I
well, right?
remember.
So
Sure, I remember.
I made sure, the girls that were working with me, I told them the first day, I said, you are my sisters and my daughters, regarding to your age. If you are younger enough, you are my daughter, and if you are my age, you are my sister. So your respect is most important than my business. And I meant it, and I gave them that respect. So the point I'm trying to make is what your Sheikh is saying, that unfortunately, we think that if it is business, it is understandable. If it is Islam, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, we have to understand that. We have to believe it. Okay, we have to believe that. So all what I mean is that all these elements within our society.
Sheikh, sorry, Sheikh. There's an answer to you for your question. This child is saying that when these ads तो इस चीज़ में लेकिन फिर भी आ जाएं या अगर ज़्यादा आए तो ऑनलाइन कभी देखने नहीं चाहिए. She's saying normally these ads don't come, but if they do come, then I switch, or we should switch. We should not be looking at those ads. That's what she's saying we should be not doing. रिदा, आप ये कह रही
Yeah,
है कि ऐसे हमें करना नहीं चाहिए, लेकिन होता क्या है, ये सवाल था. Yes, I told her that the real question was what actually you do, not what you should not be doing.
yeah, but you see, there's so much, brother. There's so much. Okay, I mean, for example, a small child likes cartoons. All right, we know now cartoons are full of all kinds of filth that people cannot see. Obviously, they're using subliminal seduction. They've just announced that one of the cartoonists is going to be gay. Okay, and
Yes,
that one of the famous ones is going to be gay. Okay, so what are we talking about here? What is the impact of these things? People need to understand this. All right, now the children can say, well, everybody's doing it. Everybody has a phone, Baba. Everybody does it. So what?
everybody
What does
wants to
that
go to hell.
mean?
Everybody wants to go to hell, but I
Yeah,
don't
what does
want you
that
to
mean?
go there, right?
Okay, and I'm not going to beat you and send everybody to hell. I'm not going to beat you with that. But I'm saying to you, as my child, I'm saying to you, understand something, that you need to discipline yourself. You need to discipline your mind. Okay, and I'm going to be fighting. Yes, we're going to be fighting. Okay, we're going to be fighting. Yes, we're going to be fighting with the script because I understand the dynamic of what's being done and how it's imposed on you. And I fight. Okay. And the same thing, I tell people the same thing about their parents. And I've had young people get mad at me because I tell them in front of their fathers and tell their mothers. I said, listen, you need to look at the long-term impact. What you're seeing right now is this one thing, you're having fun and you're having so forth and so on. But what's the long-term impact on your mind? Okay, as an example, on your thinking processes. You don't understand that now. And maybe your parents themselves don't understand it. Maybe your parents don't think, well, there's nothing wrong with it. Why? Because they want a pacifier for their children. Okay,
Absolutely right, Sheikh. Absolutely right. And I am witness to one of those cartoons. By the way, there is a cartoon, and I do not mind naming that cartoon because that is one of the most popular cartoons here in Pakistan. It's called Doraemon. I saw on that cartoon a pure sex scene done by the cartoons,
for the beloved.
and that cartoon was being watched by a 5-year-old child.
Yeah,
So you are
and the
absolutely right.
parents will think, and parents think, you know, that well, he's just a child that won't have an impact on him. Oh, really? Then you really need to listen to early childhood education people and early childhood psychiatrists. You need to really listen to psychologists. They have a tremendous amount of research on this. People
Let,
don't want to look and pay attention to it because people want their children to be pacified. They don't want to take out the time. They don't want to sit with them with books. They don't want to make activities with them. Okay, an example. Mothers want to go on their career pursuits. They don't want to sit at home because people tell them, oh, what do you do? What are your qualifications? Oh, you're just a housewife? They don't want to be insulted like this. Oh, you're an educated person and you're just sitting at home like a housemaid? So they're being belittled if they're educated. They're being belittled if they're not educated because they're raising their children to be productive parts of the society. And this is what's happening. In
and
America, okay, we have a group of professional women who work as professionals who said, we know about the impact on our children. As a result of that, we left the workforce to stay home to raise our children.
yes, and so
And
Sheikh, this is very important point. Let me just translate this for the audience. व्यूअर्स शेख ने यहाँ पर बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट बात की और वो बच्चों की तालीम और परवरिश के बारे में शेख आई टेल यू वन थिंग बिफोर आई डू द ट्रांसलेशन in my 9 years of being into the field of mind sciences, I have yet to do a case of a person whose issues in his life or her life are not in the first 7 years. So the
yeah,
first 7 years, inductive learning years, are the most important years. Let me
sure.
translate that for my viewers. व्यूअर्स यहाँ शेख ये बात कर रहे हैं कि पेरेंट्स को एक चीज़ समझनी बड़ी ज़रूरी है कि जो पहले 7 साल जो कार्टून्स हैं जो हम समझते हैं कि बच्चा एक आम सी वीडियो गेम खेल रहा है, एक छोटा सा फुटबॉल का मैच खेल रहा है, उनके ऊपर जो इश्तिहारात चलाए जाते हैं वो हमारे बच्चों के दिमागों पे असर करने के लिए हैं। और चूंकि माँ बाप के पास टाइम नहीं है, वो बाप कहता है कि यार बेटा पास आता था, हो जाओ यार जाओ। माँ कहती है मुझे अपने किचन में काम करना है, या मुझे किटी पार्टी पे जाना है, या मुझे जो है वो अपनी बहन को मिलने जाना है या भाई को मिलने जाना है, या मेरे पास अपना कैरियर बनाना है क्योंकि लोगों ने कह रहे हैं कि जी तुम सिर्फ माँ का काम करती है। ठीक है, तो इस तरह की जो बातें जो कर रहे होते हैं उसकी वजह से जो है ये मामलात और ज़्यादा ख़राबी की तरफ जा रहे हैं कि हम बच्चों को जो उनका हक है, बल्कि मैं शेख से यहाँ पूछूंगा कि बच्चों के राइट्स के ऊपर भी बात करें और पेरेंट्स के राइट्स पे भी थोड़ी सी हमें बता दें। वो आपको मैं अभी पूछ के बताता हूँ शेख। there is one thought in the mind. If you can briefly, because we have about 12 minutes left, if you can briefly say mention 5 rights of children and 5 rights of parents, so we do a balance.
Okay, first, of course, the parents have what is it? The children, the parents' right over the children is for them to respect them and to obey them. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually mentions the parents with him. Okay, in terms of obedience to your parents. I mean, we need to understand that level. And there's even a hadith that says that your father can take your money.
Yes, he
Okay,
has the
your
right
father
to.
won't do it, but from Islam, I'm just showing you. And everybody knows about hadith quotes, but it says, who should you be the closest to? Who should you have your mother, then your father? Okay, everyone knows about this example. But where's the value for this? Okay, we need to understand where's the value. Do we understand that distinction? And many people will not understand this until they themselves become parents. To be fair, when they become
Yes,
parents and they understand what it becomes to be a parent, many men will not begin to get an idea until they're married and they go through pregnancy with their wife to begin to
absolutely.
understand, to begin to understand better their mother. Okay, better understand what their mother went through, and to see what their wife goes through, and as their children grow, to understand what their mother. And the same thing, young people. Once you get married, you have children. When you have a man, you have a son. Now the relationship with your father will change. You will reflect on the things your father was telling you. You will have flashbacks to things your dad used to tell you. Okay, you can see because you're relaying many of the things that your dad taught you. Okay, and many of those things now you couldn't see them. Even as an adult, you couldn't see them. But now you got a son and a daughter. Now you begin to see those things clearly. So in these relationships, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put, it's not a mystery, but when we talk about 50% of your life isn't being married, then we're seeing what the completion of that circle is. There's a cycle and a circle that comes with that. Okay, so part of Astaghfirullah, and I want to take it to the negative one. See, we need to understand how Shaitan works. Okay, part of this thing is what's happening with young people now. But I want to pursue my career, and I want to see the world. And I'm talking about women saying this. Okay, forget the guys. I want to see the world, and I want to establish my femininity, and maybe I'll get married later on, but I want to do the things that I want to do. Okay, an example. I don't want to be a housemaid. I don't even want to be a mom. I don't want to go through pregnancy. All those things. I don't want to submit myself to any man. Okay, and then you have men who say the same thing. Well, I don't want to be, tied down by a woman. I don't want to be tied down by children. Okay, I don't want to enjoy my life and do as I want to come and go free as I want. Fine. There's very big danger in that, number one. Number two, okay, you distance yourself from the life which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made, the completion of your life. And that distances you from also development in your society. Now we have another element that's not that the element is a new element. No, it's not a new element. Okay, because the people of Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed because of it. So it's a very old element. Okay, but it's distinct in this time when we talk about the LGBT activity that's going on. So this activity is going on, was taking people completely away from that which Allah has created us from, and it's taking the people directly. You can say this one directly to the hellfire. Okay,
absolutely.
Straight away. All right. So the people who have gotten caught up in that, and now a lot of our own young people say, well, those people they're doing their thing. I don't care about them. Okay. As an example, I don't want to get off the track, but the point I'm making is that this element in relationship. Okay, so the children your parents have accountability of what? To raising you, feeding you, clothing you, offering you housing. Okay, educating you. When we say educating you, what? It's educating you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to obey Allah. That's the base of your education. And in that education, obeying Allah and doing what? The things that are going to sustain you to make you a constructive, productive person as part of the society in which you're living in. Whatever that means in the society where you live, whatever is required. Proof of this is very simple. Prophet ﷺ, at the end of Battle of Badr, he went to the mushrikeen. They were still mushrikeen. They were prisoners. He said to them, can you read or write? If any of you can read and write, if you teach our people to read and write, we will free you. They were mushrikeen still. They were not Muslims. You understand that? Why is that? Because the Prophet ﷺ understood for his society to move forward that he needed education. People needed to be educated. He knew the society was moving. And he couldn't read and write, but he was receiving wahi. But he understood the dynamics of what's required for society to develop and to evolve.
Absolutely, Sheikh. Very well said. And Sheikh, there's one interesting point which this child has brought up, and she's saying that see, this is what our youth is doing today. I know you won't be able to read that. It's in Urdu. She's writing in Roman Urdu, but I'll translate it for you. And this is a question which I have been asked many times as well. I want your answer. It's the parents' fault. They don't have time for us. They want us to watch cartoons to save their time, to save their backs. So what is our fault? So what would you say?
I agree with that. I agree. They're right. But this is the children's right on the parents. The parents have to take the time out Okay, but you have to understand, so this is the point I'm making, that parenting, a lot of people haven't been taught parenting. And the example that they had for parenting was not the example that's needed for parenting. Okay, and also many people, I found a lot of, I mentioned this, many young people, young married people, they want their time. When you have children, no. Your time, your money, everything goes with your kids. Okay, that's got to be your commitment. All right, an example. All right, if you want them to be productive. All right, example, and that's real, and that's about development of self. And also, what the law says, more or less, says what? Save yourself from the fire. Then he says right after that,
Absolutely.
save your
Responsibility is on
family from the
you.
fire. He didn't say the whole world. He didn't say the community. He said save yourself, save your family. Okay, it doesn't mean that we don't engage in other things, but if you're trying to save the world and your family is running to the fire. So for me personally, one of the things I think that this was a wake-up call, this pandemic is a wake-up call for every family. Very high percentage of our families, the men are home now. And now, generally worldwide, they're saying the divorce rate has increased because the men are home. Okay?
Divorce rate.
Yeah, the divorce rate has increased globally because the men are home. Because, there are a lot of reasons, okay? But one of the things is that, men can't deal with being in the house. They can't deal with the house for the kids. They can't deal with their wife the whole day, for example. And also, whatever they've been doing outside, okay, has been nullified in their offices and whatever, that they're accustomed to, okay, that is all controlled. So now whatever's going on with them, they have no way to vent it than the way that they're used to. So this is what's going on. It's global. Okay, as an example. But now there are men who I've met that says, listen, now I see my children in a different way, a different light. I'm spending more child time with them. I'm seeing the things that they need. I'm trying to assist my wife in the development. So there's a progressive side of it. And for me personally, I think this is why Allah put us in this situation. Because
Maybe.
we need to organize and work on our families.
Wake up call. Indeed, Sheikh. I'll just let me quickly translate this part and then I will go for the closure, the last comments. शेख ने यहाँ पर ये बताया है कि ये जो कोरोना की जो पेंडेमिक आई है इसकी एक रीजन, इसके अंदर बहुत सारी तलाकें भी बढ़ गई हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि जो लोग घरों में रहते नहीं थे पहले, माँ बाप, शौहर, मियाँ बीवी, जब उनको रहना पड़ा एक दूसरे के साथ उस तरह से, जिस तरह से वो कभी रहे नहीं है, तो उनको अंदाजा हुआ कि ये तो बड़ा मुश्किल काम था. क्योंकि उन लोगों ने आपस में वो चीज़ें, एक दूसरे की इज्जत, रिस्पेक्ट, उन चीज़ों के बारे में सोचा नहीं, ख्याल नहीं किया, अपनी बॉन्डिंग नहीं बनाई, ना आपस में ना बच्चों के साथ. इसलिए इसमें ग्लोबली बहुत सारी तलाक़ें हुई, बहुत डाइवोर्सेस हुई हैं इस पेंडेमिक के अंदर. नाउ मैं चाहूँगा कि मैं शेख से, और रिदा माशाल्लाह बेटा आपने बहुत अच्छी पार्टिसिपेशन की. अल्लाह सुब्हानहू तआला आपके लिए ज़िंदगी में बहुत आसानियों के मामला करें. मैं शेख का एक मैसेज ज़रूर देना चाहूँगा सबको, पेरेंट्स को, कि ये बच्चों का हक है कि आप बच्चों को वक्त दें, उनके साथ वक्त गुजारें, उनको उनका वो हक दें जो उसके वो हकदार हैं. तो मैं आखिर में शेख से इंशाल्लाह, बाय द वे आपको ये बताना चलूँ दुआ से पहले कि इंशाल्लाह कल हमारा बड़ा ही ज़बरदस्त सूरह कहफ के ऊपर लेक्चर है. कल की जो बैठक है सूरह कहफ के बारे में. कल अशफाक के अमीर रिटायर्ड जो है वो हमारे साथ होंगे. वो बहुत ही मज़ेदार और वो उर्दू में होगी, इसलिए आप लोगों को सुनने में और भी आसानी रहेगी इंशाल्लाह. शेख, any last comments and any last message that you want to give to the youth especially, and then
Sure.
I'll make the prayers and then we can inshallah close
Sure.
the session.
Sure. The thing is that young people need to have a vision. And there's no such thing as being too young to have a vision or too old. And there's no such thing as that you can't change it. But you need to have it. Okay? And you have to believe in it, and you can always fine tune it. You can make adjustments at any given time during your life. At my age, okay, and I'm not gonna tell you how old I am. I still like doing new things and different things. I've always been like that my whole life. I've done different things, and I love that. And I love different challenges. And for me, it makes life interesting, and you feel like you're making a contribution. So I think the same thing. You should follow your passion. When I say, but your passion has to be halal, all right? Okay, it should be halal.
Yes.
I'm saying I'm
Halal.
not going to take that for granted. I'll say Your passion should be halal. Okay, but I think everyone should follow their passion. Number one, a lot of young people, they don't identify with their passions. Another thing, very important, try to identify what you do well naturally. What comes to you easy, one, two, three. Allah's given everybody something like that. It's very easy. They can do it. And a lot of people don't want to do it, even though it's easy. Develop that and combine that with your passion. And then you're going to find very simply things begin to reach a different level for you. And keep it all within the Islamic context. What does it mean? To not make it something big. Think about what I'm doing. Is Allah going to be pleased with it?
Absolutely.
Okay. Identify that. You want to, y'all kids say, I want to be a footballer. I want to be a cricketer. I said, but my father doesn't want me to do that. I said, well, you can't go against your father, okay? But did your father say you can't play football? Did he say you can't play cricket? No. He didn't say that. But he says he doesn't want you to spend all your life doing a profession. He said he wants you to go to be an engineer. He wants you to be a doctor, whatever it might be. Example. So, but the thing is that we need to understand that dynamic. Where do those things lead you? Where does it take you? And you didn't understand that. Sit with your father. Discuss this with your father. Okay, Dad, okay, what are the steps to this? And where does it go? Okay, what is the potential of it? Where do most people end up? You don't know that. I tell kids, I said, don't expect your father to tell you all their experiences. You want your father to tell you that he did some stuff haram when he was young? You can think, well, my father, he doesn't know about this kind of stuff. How do you know he doesn't know about it? Because he doesn't talk to you about it?
He's been through that. He's been there, done that.
Sure. And who's gonna be there with you in all circumstances? Your father. Who loves you the most? Your mother and your father. So who should you talk to? Okay, as a young man, maybe you don't want to talk to your mom, okay? But you should be able to tell your dad anything. Okay, an example. And your father should be able to advise you. So you got to trust your parents. You have to trust your parents. Okay? And you need to be with young people who are productive, who are doing productive things. Don't be around young people who are involved and engaged in things which are negative and harmful, because they will influence you. Do not think that you will not be influenced. And don't let them think, well, why you like that? We love you. Come on, you one of us. No, you got to be able to say, you have to be able to say, no, I'm not one of you. Okay? I don't want to be involved in it. You have to be able to say no.
Yes, absolutely right, Sheikh. And Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much, Sheikh, for your time. I know we have crossed the limit, and let me give a quick translation and then I'll make the dua. शेख ने जो बड़ी ज़बरदस्त बात की है वो ये है कि बच्चों को वालिदैन के साथ और वालिदैन को बच्चों के साथ जुड़ना बहुत ज़रूरी है. आपका एक ज़िंदगी में विजन, एक मिशन होना बहुत ज़रूरी है, और आपको उस विजन और मिशन को ऊपर चलना, अपने पैशन को फॉलो करना जो कि हलाल पैशन हो, बहुत ज़रूरी है. ये बहुत सारी ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो हमारे यहाँ पर बहुत मिसिंग हैं और उसके ऊपर हमें काम करने की ज़रूरत है. ये शेख का मैसेज है बच्चों के लिए. तो अब हम इसको वाइंड अप करते हैं और इंशाल्लाह कल आपके साथ सूरह कहफ के की अहमियत आज के ज़माने में क्या है उसके हवाले से मिलेंगे. जी रिदा, आपने बिल्कुल ठीक कहा कि समझ सकूं, लेकिन सब ने ही इसके अपोजिट काम किया, कुछ नहीं समझ आए, दूसरे को बिल्कुल लड़ाई की है. ये रिदा, बिकॉज कभी यही बात शेख कर रहे थे कि चूँकि लोग रहे नहीं आपस में एक दूसरे के साथ, तो इसलिए इस तरह के मसले मसाइल बने. शेख, there were some comments, the same thing which you said, that people who started living together during Corona, that ended up in bigger fights and bigger disagreements because people had never lived together. So anyways, Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. I am really obliged for your time. Inshallah, we'll bother you again. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept yours and my deeds and everybody's deeds who have been listening to us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who at the Yawmul Qiyamah in Jannah be the servants of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. May Allah make us to those who can be nearest to the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in Yawmul Qiyamah and Day of Judgment and in Jannah. And may Allah bless us with knowledge, wisdom and education that will take us to the path of An'amta alayhim, and may Allah save us from the path of Ghair al-Maghdubi alayhim. So Jazakallah khair, Sheikh, and may with all this dua and thanks to you and viewers, thanks a lot to you as well. I would say इंशाल्लाह कल आपसे फिर मुलाकात होगी. अस्सलाम वालेकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू.